Have you ever felt uncomfortable because the same bird keeps appearing everywhere you go? Not once, not twice, but again and again, like it is quietly following your life. Maybe you saw it outside your house in the morning, then later near your car, then again while walking alone somewhere peaceful. Most people laugh these moments away at first, but when the same type of bird keeps showing up repeatedly, a strange question begins to grow in the back of the mind. Why does this keep happening to me? Before we go deeper, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and tell me in the comments if a bird has ever followed you or kept appearing around you in strange ways. Because some of the reasons behind this behavior are far more surprising than most people realize. Birds notice far more than humans think. To us, birds often look random, flying from place to place without purpose. But scientists discovered that many birds carefully study the world around them every second. They remember safe places, dangerous areas, food locations, weather patterns, and even human faces. Some birds can remember a single person for years. Others can recognize voices, routines, and body movements. And once a bird becomes interested in something, it may continue watching it for a very long time. Researchers studying crows found that these birds can actually teach other birds about specific humans. If one crow believes a person is dangerous, nearby crows begin reacting carefully too. But what shocked scientists was the opposite reaction. Birds also remember humans who seem calm, quiet, or safe. In some cases, birds slowly become comfortable enough to stay nearby without fear. This may explain why certain birds appear repeatedly around the same people. People who spend quiet time outdoors often experience this more. Walking in parks, sitting in gardens, drinking coffee outside in the morning. Birds begin learning their movements, their routines, their energy. And over time, the bird no longer sees the human as a stranger. But there are moments when this behavior feels much stranger than simple familiarity. Some people describe birds appearing during difficult periods in life, during stress, during grief, during loneliness. A bird suddenly showing up again and again during moments when emotions already feel heavy. And what makes these stories unsettling is how personal they become. Certain birds appear only around one person in the family, sometimes only during one specific period of life. Ancient cultures noticed this long before modern science existed. In many traditions, birds were seen as guides, messengers, or silent observers connected to change. Ravens symbolized hidden knowledge. Hawks represented awareness and direction. Small songbirds were sometimes believed to appear when a person needed comfort or guidance without realizing it yet. Of course, science does not say birds carry magical messages. But science does confirm something fascinating. Birds are extremely sensitive to patterns, emotions, movement, and changes in behavior. They notice things humans ignore every day. And what researchers discovered about birds following certain people over long periods of time made this mystery even harder to explain. One of the strangest things people report is this. The bird does not just appear once in a random place. It starts appearing almost everywhere the person goes. A crow sitting on a street sign outside the house. Then the same type of crow near the workplace later that day. Then again near a parking lot or outside a store. At first it feels impossible. But after enough times, many people stop believing it is coincidence. And strangely, science says there may actually be a reason for this. Researchers discovered that some birds build very detailed mental maps of human routines. Crows, ravens, pigeons, and even some backyard birds remember locations connected to specific people. They recognize walking paths, feeding spots, cars, voices, and schedules. In some cities, scientists found birds waiting near areas where they expected certain humans to appear regularly. Think about how strange that really is. A bird may know where you usually walk before you even arrive there yourself. But what unsettled researchers most was how emotionally attached certain birds appeared to become. In one study, a rescued crow was released back into the wild after months of care. Instead of disappearing, it kept returning to the same woman who had helped it recover. Sometimes it followed her for blocks at a time without making noise. Other crows even began gathering nearby whenever she appeared. And stories like this happen far more often than people realize. A man in Scotland claimed a small blackbird appeared outside his apartment almost every evening during the hardest year of his life. No matter which room he sat in, the bird seemed to appear nearby. When he moved to another neighborhood months later, he assumed the strange visits would stop. But only 3 days after moving, the same type of bird appeared outside his new window again. Maybe it was not the same bird. Maybe it was only his imagination connecting patterns together. But moments like these leave people with questions they cannot easily forget. Ancient cultures believed birds followed certain people for important reasons. In old stories, birds were sometimes seen as silent teachers, creatures that appeared during periods of confusion, emotional pain, or major life change. Hawks symbolized awareness. Ravens represented hidden truth. Some cultures even believed repeated bird encounters meant a person was ignoring something important in their own life. And what makes this idea interesting is that birds themselves are extremely aware creatures. They notice tension, movement, fear, calmness, even small changes in human behavior. Some scientists believe birds react strongly to emotional energy because they constantly study body language to survive around predators. That means birds may notice emotional changes in humans long before other people do. And this is where the mystery becomes difficult to ignore, because many people say the bird disappears completely once their life changes. Once the stressful period ends. Once the grief becomes lighter. Once the difficult decision is finally made. Almost as if the bird was connected to that chapter of life somehow. Science cannot fully explain experiences like these. But researchers do agree on one thing. Birds are watching humans far more closely than humans are watching them. And one specific type of bird behavior made even experienced bird experts deeply uncomfortable after studying it closely. The behavior that disturbed researchers most was not birds flying nearby. It was when birds began acting as if they were intentionally observing one specific person. Not randomly, repeatedly. Some birds start appearing at the exact same time every day, waiting quietly on fences, rooftops, cars, or tree branches nearby. And the strange part is how calm they seem. Wild birds are normally alert and nervous around humans. But in these situations, many birds show almost no fear at all. Researchers studying crows noticed something unusual during long-term experiments. Certain crows became highly focused on individual humans. They remembered faces, routines, and locations for years. Some even changed their behavior depending on the emotional reactions they received from people nearby. But things became even stranger outside the laboratory. A woman from Arizona described a raven that began following her during morning walks after she lost someone close to her. The bird would appear silently on nearby poles and trees no matter which path she took. She eventually changed her walking route completely, but the raven still appeared. Weeks later, the bird suddenly disappeared and never returned again. Stories like this exist all over the world. And maybe there is a simple explanation. Birds are intelligent, curious, observant. But what unsettles many people is the timing of these encounters. Birds appearing during emotional moments, during loneliness, during periods when life feels uncertain or heavy. Ancient cultures believed repeated bird encounters carried lessons people were refusing to see. In some traditions, birds symbolized awareness, a reminder to slow down, notice life differently, or pay attention to emotions being ignored. Hawks represented focus. Ravens represented truth hidden in darkness. Owls symbolized wisdom during confusing times. Whether those beliefs are true or not, one thing is certain. Birds experience the world differently than humans do. They sense movement humans miss. Weather changes humans cannot feel. Tiny sounds humans never notice. Their survival depends on awareness every second of their lives. And maybe that is why certain bird encounters feel so personal. Because when a wild creature repeatedly chooses to stay close to one person without fear, it naturally creates the feeling that something important is happening beneath the surface. But there is one final reason some experts believe birds follow certain humans, and it may be the strangest explanation of all. Some researchers believe the final reason birds follow certain people is connected to something surprisingly simple: tension. Birds survive by noticing what others ignore. Every movement matters to them. Every sound. Every change in behavior. And because of this, birds are naturally drawn toward humans who move through life differently than everyone else around them. Quiet people. Observant people. People who spend time alone thinking deeply. People carrying heavy emotions without speaking about them. Birds often stay away from loud, rushed, chaotic environments. But calm spaces attract them. Soft voices, slow movement, peaceful routines. And over time, certain birds begin treating those people almost like part of the environment itself. But sometimes the behavior feels far stranger than familiarity. There are moments when a bird appears exactly when someone needs comfort most. Right after bad news. During periods of loneliness. During mornings when life feels emotionally exhausting. And the strange thing is, many people describe the same feeling afterward. Not fear. Not confusion. Something calmer. Almost like the bird appeared to remind them they were not completely alone. Science would explain this as emotional connection and pattern recognition. Humans naturally search for meaning during difficult times. But even scientists admit birds are far more emotionally aware than people once believed. Ravens have shown signs of grief. Crows remember kindness. Some birds even bring gifts to humans who regularly care for them. And maybe that is why these experiences stay in people's minds for years. Because deep down, something feels unusual about a wild creature choosing to stay close without fear. Maybe the bird simply learned your routine. Maybe it sees you as safe. Or maybe birds notice things about people that humans are too distracted to notice about themselves. The next time a bird keeps appearing around you, pay attention for a moment before ignoring it. Notice when it appears. Notice how it behaves. Notice how you feel during those moments. Because sometimes life becomes so loud that people stop noticing quiet things trying to get their attention. And maybe birds, in their own strange way, remind people to slow down long enough to finally see what has been sitting quietly in front of them the entire time. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more mysterious bird stories and hidden animal behaviors. And tell me in the comments, has a bird ever followed you in a way that felt impossible to explain?